It has been 5 months since I last did anything involving my Switch collection, and yeah, I didn't stop buying any games. In fact, I've added over 30, and we're going to look at them all today. What's going on, everyone? I'm Jay. The channel is Square Pegs. Hit that subscribe button down below if you are new around here. So now let's head on over to the Switch and take a look at 31 pickups for the console. While Captain Toad Treasure Tracker was one of my favorites from the Wii U, I took a while to pick it up on the Switch because it just made sense to wait until things settled down price-wise to buy something I'd previously owned. But finding it on sale for 20 bucks, yeah, I couldn't pass that up. If you haven't played it, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker is a fantastic 3D spatial puzzle game where you're on a quest for gold and diamonds. It took a concept introduced in Super Mario 3D World and expanded it into an extreme level with massive boss fights, crazy level designs, and huge worlds that are a blast to play through. And as a bonus, the Switch version has levels exclusive to it from Super Mario Odyssey. I picked up Cars 3 Driven to Win for the express goal of doing a licensed games that are better than the property they're based on video, and it just didn't come together quite right. And even still, I'm pretty happy I did pick this game up. It's dirt cheap, and it's actually a fairly deep racing game that mixes both straight-up arcade racing with a bit of vehicle combat, a smidge of stunt work, and some fantastic Pixar personality into a solid game. That's not something I probably would have picked up without having that video idea, but I'm pretty stoked that I did. Now, it's no secret that the TurboGrafx is a huge blank spot for me with regards to games, so it should come as no surprise that my knowledge of Cotton is, to put it mildly, limited at best. But I saw a few videos talking about Cotton Reboot, and I thought it looked pretty fun. And man, is it. It's a really smart remake of the original from the X68000 PC called Cotton Fantastic Night Dreams, and even cooler, you can actually play this one in the original visuals from that release. The remake itself is gorgeous, bursting with color and life from the sprites on the screen with magnificent soundtrack and a solid challenge. It's a really neat introduction to the series, and with Cotton 2 and Cotton Boomerang coming to the Switch later this month, I'm really stoked to try them out. Alright, there will be a more in-depth video about Cruisin Blast down the road, but the game is legit, folks. It's loud, over-the-top, ostentatious, colorful, and just visually aggressive, for lack of a better term. In short, it's exactly what a Cruisin sequel should be. I've had so much fun with this game, and I honestly have it in the running for my top 5 games of the year right now. With a ton of unlockables, instant replay value, and just so much to see and experience within the game, I'm gonna love it for years to come. I can't say a ton about Disgaea VI because I haven't put a lot of time into it, to be honest, since I am still playing through the previous games in the series on the Switch, but what I can say is that the revamped look that is present for Disgaea VI is magnificent, with beautiful hand-drawn characters and solid animations, awesome, if a bit annoying at times, voice acting, and the trademark humor the series has been known for. Plus, a zombie pug. You can't go wrong with that. It's no secret that I'm a fan of compilations like the Disney Classics Aladdin and the Lion King set here. And sure, both of the games are classics, although I actually don't much care for Lion King. Sorry, Simba. And yes, it's awesome to get so many versions of these games on one cartridge. But the real meat of this collection is the museum for each game. Behind-the-scenes videos, amazing art collections, and awesome Disney love on every single page. It's a magnificent look into a game design process that made these beloved Disney films come to life in interactive media. Greek Memories of Asia is one of those games that you catch wind of, try the demo, and just immediately fall head over heels for. The demo I played is the tutorial level in the overall game, an introduction to the different mechanics and gameplay you'll experience throughout the adventure, and the game just opens up from there. I'm going to avoid spoilers talking about the story here, but rest assured the game features a really fun mix of action puzzle platforming with RPG elements, all set to a melodic and hypnotic soundtrack that serves as the backdrop for absolutely stunning hand-drawn backgrounds, characters, and animations. Be sure to check out the demo, I think you'll dig it. Alright, confession time. I've never seen a John Wick movie. Sue me. But as someone who went through a deep need to play tactical strategy games recently, I wanted to check out John Wick Hex as I'd heard a lot of good stuff about it. And for the most part, it's pretty good. I don't have a ton of familiarity with the source material other than knowing you don't mess with this dude's dog, so I'm not sure if this translates well into a video game, but the combat is methodical and interesting, and the game flows at whatever pace you want it to, allowing you to plot out your attacks and make moves that will play out to your advantage. It's a pretty neat concept that's weighed down by some atrocious load times and average graphics, but the gameplay itself is rock solid. I never played the original Kingdoms of Amalur despite friends telling me how great it was, simply due to me having a hate for 38 Studios and their shady business practices. But when this got its re-release and it was on the Switch, alright, fair play, that's a recipe for success. And Kingdoms of Amalur ReReckoning is a competent action RPG that does a fairly good job of balancing both the sometimes tedium of character advancement with good gameplay, solid graphics, and excellent music. There's a massive sprawling world to explore with creative enemy designs and fun armor and weapons to equip your characters with. It does show its age with some distinct early 2010s design elements, but there's a fun game underneath those decisions. I kind of think of Kirby Star Allies as Fisher-Price's My First Platformer because it's decidedly not complex, nor is it terribly challenging, but what it does pretty well. From a visual perspective, Kirby hasn't looked better in his traditional design. The game moves at a great pace, and the traditional Kirby gameplay is present with the power absorption, albeit with the added bonus of befriending baddies to have them tag along with you as a kind of break glass in case of emergency ability management repository. That alone takes a lot of the guesswork out of the gameplay, making levels easy breezy. It's competent, just not at all challenging to play. I unabashedly adore the Mario sports games, and Mario Golf Super Rush is a fantastic addition to that lineup. It's deceptively deep, with a wide variety of character options and gameplay methods to keep you coming back. Tons of courses with continued free content being added to the game really show off the value of the title, and with some absolutely fantastic single-player and multiplayer game modes to enjoy, it's a welcome addition to a series that the Switch desperately needed representation with. I think I need to start Monster Hunter Rise over, because I'm honestly completely lost with it. I picked this up back in May, haven't picked it up since, and trying to get back into it to capture this footage? Yeah, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. If I'm being honest, I've never really gotten the absolute obsession with the mainline Monster Hunter games. I find them kinda clunky with regards to UX. There's so many damn menus that it's like wading through molasses just to get into game. And when you get there, it's just a basic hack and slash. I mean, the games look incredible and the music is magnificent, but that's just set dressing. Rise is better, from what I remember, than previous iterations that I played, but I think it's pretty obvious that even with it being better, it's not something I've wanted to invest a ton of time into. Now, Monster Hunter Stories 2, however, that's my kind of game. Every issue I have with the mainline series is washed away with Stories 2. The characters actually have personality, the gameplay is fun, and the menu systems are streamlined and easy to get through. It's a completely different experience than what I got with Rise, which should make it come as no surprise that I put a ton more hours into it, and as a result, I've had a lot more fun with it. This, as well, is in my contention for Game of the Year. The original Pokemon Snap was one of my favorite experiences on the N64, and I was so excited to see new Pokemon Snap release. Even with that, I was moderately concerned that the game wouldn't live up to my expectations and that they wouldn't be able to recapture the magic of the original, but I'm so happy to say that my concerns were completely unwarranted. This game is gorgeous, with massive monsters for you to look at and photograph, and the level variety is a welcome aspect of the game's overall design. Coupled with some solid post-release support, this game is 100% a winner. We had a lot of fun in my family with the original Overcooked playing it on the PS4, and it just made sense to pick up the sequel on the Switch. Overcooked II hasn't had a ton of playtime put into it yet, but from what I can tell, it remains loyal to the original in every way, while adding a few new gameplay elements to improve the sequel. It's solid fun, and a perfect party game when you've got friends over, or at least part of a large family that likes to game together. I've already gone fairly in-depth on this one in another video. The card's up there in the corner, so please do check it out. But in summary, this game here, the Pigeon Dev Games Collection, is a collection of challenging games that are perfect for streamers, or as my friend John from Biddy Kong's Quest noticed, ideal for speedrunners. And it has an absolutely stunning physical collection. It looks great on a shelf. As a sucker for all things NIS America and compilation games, I was fated to buy Prinny Presents NIS Classics Volume 1 as soon as I saw it announced. And it does not disappoint for fans of tactical RPGs. The game contains both Phantom Brave and Soul Nomad, which have been remastered from their PS2 original formats, with expanded graphics, voice acting, and improved mixing to the music. Both games are quality cult classics, and both have their feet decidedly planted in the early 2000s, with both odd design choices and some, shall we say, moderately offensive dialogue. Still, if you aren't easily offended or enjoy classic isometric tactical RPGs, consider picking this one up. I've thoroughly enjoyed my time with it, even with its baked-in flaws. I picked up Power Rangers Battle for the Grid on kind of a whim. I was doing one of the X for X sales on GameStop, and it was one of the Switch games that was in stock. Having heard some good things about it, I took a shot. And it's an alright fighting game. The character models are gorgeous, the voice acting is stellar, and the environments look amazing. It's the gameplay, unfortunately, that drags it down. Now, not permanently, mind you, but it does drag it down initially. When you first try the game out, it feels slow, like it's running through waist-deep water, so it never quite hits its rhythm. However, once you get into the feel of the game, it flows pretty nicely, and it actually plays pretty well. I don't know if I'm as much of a fan of it as others are, and I'm sure if you're a Sentai fan it'll be near and dear to your heart, but it's a fairly competent fighting game. This is actually the second time I've owned Puyo Tetris. We traded this in a few years ago, and I was at Target a couple months ago and saw it on the end cap, ticketed for $10, and I figured, what the hell? I mean, it's a fine puzzle game, mixing two wildly different experiences into a solid, competitive casserole of puzzly fun. I think it's safe to say that Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game from Ubisoft, was one of the most desired digital re-releases of the last decade. Being able to get it digitally earlier in the year was excellent, and it was an added bonus when we found out that there would be physical releases as well from Limited Run. Now, my issues with Limited Run's business practices aside, I really like the classic edition that I received. Lots of really neat feelies in the package. I particularly enjoy the ticket for the concert, and the hard plastic case that holds the game and its contents is really nice. Do I think it was worth the money I paid for it? Honestly, with how long it took to produce and receive, I can't really say it was worth what I paid, But it is a fun game that I've wanted physically for over a decade, so I stick with the choice I made. It's a good collection. I never played the original version of Sonic Colors, so I went into Sonic Colors Ultimate completely blind. There was a bit of a controversy around this game before it launched, and there were some performance issues that folks encountered. I mean, go figure. A leaked game that didn't have its stability patch yet didn't work well. Shocker. And I can say without hesitation that the thing Sonic Colors Ultimate is most guilty of is being a bland, average game with a neat idea that never quite sticks the landing. Looks nice and the controls are okay, but overall it's kind of boring and not terribly unique. Much like the Pigeon Game Devs collection, I also talked about Super Blood Hockey in the unboxing from Premium Edition as well, so I won't go too in-depth here, but this is a great game if you're at all a fan of sports titles. It's a love letter to the original ice hockey on the NES, and it's a hyper-violent, frequently hilarious take on my favorite sport. You know, I try to say something nice about every game I do a review on, so here goes. Super Mario Maker 2 is a perfectly competent Mario design application that gives sadists the ability to torture others via Mario levels. I mean, look, the game's fine, it does what it sets out to do, it's just not my thing. Super Mario Party on the Switch was an interesting game, essentially boiling down to being a tech demo for what would ultimately become the soon-to-release Mario Party Superstars. This game is fine, but it doesn't do anything terribly well or terribly poorly, it just kind of glides along, no hurry, no worry at its own pace. Minigames on it are pretty good, but the board designs are really weak. It's a mixed bag overall. The Mana series is amazing, and I was super excited to get Trials of Mana released in a remastered form after having the original version of the game released in the Collection of Mana the previous year. This is a magnificent remaster, fully redone from top to bottom with gorgeous graphical improvements and a full vocal cast, bringing to life the world of Trials. I'm not too far into the game yet, but what I've played is a lot of fun, giving you a wide variety of characters to utilize and try out. Square did great on this one. I freely admit I had some trepidation about WarioWare Get It Together when it was first announced. I liked the idea of switching things up a bit, but I was worried that the designers would go too far and give us something completely off from what the core WarioWare gameplay experience should be. Luckily, I was completely wrong in my concerns, as WarioWare Get It Together is a charming, idiotic, silly, and chaotic collection of minigames where you control one member of the WarioWare cast at a time, utilizing their abilities to complete the games and move forward. It is a wildly good time and absolutely hilarious in its execution. This was a fun one to discover. Wonder Boy, Asha, and Monster World is a game I both was completely familiar with and did not expect at all at the same time. See, I had never played the original game starring Asha until the Genesis Mini released a couple of years ago, and I loved it when I played it. But apparently as soon as I stopped playing it, I completely forgot that it existed and put it out of my head for one reason or another. I loved Wonder Boy the Dragon's Trap remaster from a couple years ago, so when I saw this offered, I was excited to try it out for the first time. And about 20 minutes into the game, I realized this felt really familiar. And that was fine, because it's a great game in its own right. It is a little slow at times and the levels can be a smidge too long, but it's still a lot of fun to get into and play. I really dig World's End Club, I just wish I was better at it. The idea is pretty cool. You're part of the Go-Getters Club, a group of misfit students from around Japan, and one day, while on a field trip, you get into an accident and awaken under the sea in an abandoned amusement park. And things only get weirder from there. Without going too in-depth, you'll be trying to solve the game of fate to ensure your survival and escape, all while navigating the colorful personalities of your fellow classmates. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was another one I had at one time and traded away, thinking I would be able to pick it up easily down the road, only to watch it go out of print and skyrocket in price. Yeah, mistakes were made. Full disclosure, I don't like this one as much as the original Xenoblade Chronicles, but it's still a really good game. Graphically, it looks fantastic, and the gameplay is cleaned up considerably from the original. But the voice acting, oh my god, the voice acting. Don't let that get you down though, because overall the game is charming and sincere, and well worth the effort to track down. And as a collecting bonus point here, look for games like this with a PAL release. The US version of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 goes for roughly $70 new, but I was able to get this sealed with a PAL rating on it for $30 on Amazon. Continuing the classic series, Ys 9 Monstrum Nox keeps the focus on Adol Christin, the fiery-haired protagonist of the mainline Ys series. You begin the game by being arrested and tossed in jail, and your only hope is to escape imprisonment and go on the run. Without spoiling any more of the plot, Ys 9 is a strong, competent, forward-facing action RPG where your character is more than he seems on the surface, and your abilities are wide and varied. The game allows you to control multiple characters, each with their own distinct abilities and playstyles, and it looks and sounds wonderful. It's an absolute joy to play. And finally, here is ELEX Origin, a fun throwback that I didn't know anything about until seeing it on sale on Amazon. And ELEX Origin is not, as I'd originally anticipated, a remake of Ys 1. Instead, this is a solid prequel, set 700 years before the first Ys game, and allows you to explore the history of the land and discover more about the lore that makes the Ys series what it's become known for. The game has some solid sprite work and excellent voice acting, and while it is decidedly short at only around 10 hours, there's something to be said for a quick game that gets you backstory and adds to an overarching series that has more than enough storyline to work with. Alright, 31 pickups for the Switch, and for a nice change of pace, it is wonderful to say none of them are actually bad. There's actually a really good mix of games here. All of them are ones I've enjoyed playing, all of them are ones that I want to go back and play again, with the grand exception of Super Mario Maker 2. It's just not for me, but Victor loves it, so that's why we've got it. Let me know down below what your favorite game is that I have picked up so far, and if you think there's anything glaring that I am missing that I've overlooked that I should definitely be picking up, be sure to look back at the old collection videos as well so you can see everything that's in there. Please hit like, please subscribe down below if you're new around here, and if you really dig the work I do around here, consider becoming a monthly Patreon sponsor like the wonderful people you are seeing on screen right now. Until next time, folks, I've been Jay. Appreciate you spending a little bit of time with me. Until next time, remember to play more games, stay square, and take care. I'll talk to you soon.